Welcome, everyone. So glad you are with me today. I'm excited to talk with my good friend and colleague, Joyce MacDonald. Joyce is the president and CEO of Greater Public. And Greater Public, what they do is they inspire and empower public media organizations to advance their mission by ensuring a sustainable financial future. And Joyce is responsible for developing Greater Public's vision, strategy, and plans to maximize public media's finances for long-term success. And in today's climate, with government funding being threatened, this is needed now more than ever. So with that, let's have some real talk with Joyce Mac. Joyce, welcome.
Cheers. Thanks for the mug, Jeff.
You're welcome. Yeah, we've known each other now, I forget now how many years, but six years, seven years, it all happened in San Francisco when we met you at the conference that you run for all the public media stations. And Richard and I sat with you in the lobby and started talking about what we do. And you're like, oh, this sounds just right up my alley here. I want to talk about major guests. And we did that. And we came a few weeks later, we met you at the NPR headquarters and showed you a little bit more about Veritas. And since then, we've been together partners for a long time.
Yep.
Really helping all of these great stations around the country. So here we are. This is a interesting time we're in. So
you have an interesting definition of interesting.
Yeah. So with all these challenges that are going on, because I think everyone who's listening knows what's been going on, the federal government is threatening to pull out all the funding. And we don't know where that is right yet, but it could happen. So what are all the challenges from your perspective that public media is facing today?
Well, what's getting the attention right now is that federal funding, and it is critically important for public media for many reasons. I think to sort of telescope out, public media has been extremely successful at low-level gifts and dependent on low-level gifts. Federal funding is part of the mix, but so is sponsorship. And for most public media organizations, the largest piece of the pie is individual giving. And when I came into this chair, and I'd been in public media for a long time, I knew, or I suspected, that public media had an opportunity to become more of a philanthropic destination than just sort of a transactional, like the difference between a subscription and a membership. It's sort of a transactional point of view.
Yeah.
And so I think underlying what's going on is an opportunity that I think is huge. And I think you would agree, based on all the analyses we've seen and the successes that we've seen, for public media to evolve its relationship with donors. And whatever happens with federal funding, that is our future.
Yeah.
And I think I will add to that, the media environment that we're operating in is challenging. And let's face it, there are a lot of other ways for people to get news information, music programming, entertainment.
Right.
Linear broadcast consumption is declining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just for us, but across the board.
Across the board. Yep.
And we've been seeing this trend over the past, you can debate about how many years, and that has started to affect our ability to raise those small donations.
Right. Yeah.
So what in the past, major giving was a great to have. It was like additive to our mix. Yeah. Now that is the one area of revenue, because sponsorship is also flat.
Yep.
Because it's dependent on that linear broadcast. So, my staff calls me a pathological optimist.
I love it.
I think that there's a huge opportunity for us here. Given all of the uncertainty in the environment, what I am loving to see is that donors are stepping up, even small donation donors.
Yeah.
They know what's going on. They consume news and information, obviously. And stations are having a great spring in terms of individual giving. That's great. But is it sustainable?
Right.
But it
Yeah.
tells me our donors love us.
They do. And we've seen it in the data. Your donors love you. You have some of the most loyal donors in public media. They're giving every year. And that's a great thing, but it's with this strategy of membership. You're a member and that feels good. You get your little tote bag or whatever it is, and you
Mug,
$25 a month or whatever, and you're building public media for years has built a donor base off of that strategy, and it's been fantastic. And what's been lacking is strategies to allow the donor to do more than that, because they really didn't need it, because they were doing so well on the membership side.
Yeah. Well, and audiences were growing and growing and growing, over decades. So, when your individual giving revenue is up,
Yeah.
it's that's how major giving came to be seen as a nice to have.
Yeah. And for those that are in public media listening to this is also something everyone can learn about, because whether you're an arts organization or any type of nonprofit that has like membership or sustainer programs, that's a big part of your file, or small dollar donors, and you've really grown up in direct response, there's an opportunity now on the mid and major gift side to start developing relationships with these donors, and knowing that there is a huge potential there that has not been tapped into. And fortunately for public media, over the last 5 years or so, we've really started to see the mid and major gift area starting to grow out, although it's in its infancy really still.
Absolutely.
So with all this challenges going on, how are you advising all these station managers? Because that's what Greater Public is about. It's like helping come alongside of these stations and giving them good advice and resources. So what are you saying to that?
Well, needless to say, we're providing resources around the federal funding challenge. We're not telling stations what to do, but if they're going to fundraise around what's happening with the administration, we give them tools to do that. I think what I just said about the sustainability question and the opportunity question, it's like, given what's happening in the broadcast space in decline consumption, how are you investing in providing your service on multiple platforms? How are you investing in bringing your community together and bringing your community closer? And we need a new revenue stream. And what I'm saying is, we're lucky in that we've already got the people that we need to help us build that.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have to go out and find new people. We can focus on the people that have already voted for us with their dollars. And I think what I like to say is, yes, it's critically important to hire, digital specialists, to hire content producers for different platforms, to do experiments and do all those things. If you first invest in mid-level and major giving, you will be producing the revenue that's going to allow you to do all those things. In an environment where federal funding is uncertain, turn to something that you have control over.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have some examples of some of the stations that are actually thriving through this and have adopted mid and major gifts, and what are you seeing?
Yes. I'll brag a little bit on you guys. The stations that have worked with Veritas Group, are in a position where they've not only seen growth, but they also have the kind of relationships that are going to lead to transformational giving. And we all know it takes a number of years of relationship building and the right opportunities for donors to invest at that level. The folks that have sort of bought into hiring the staffing and doing the work are in, I think, a very good position to weather any storm. You don't know what could be in the future. The federal funding is a
Right.
challenge. There may be other challenges.
Yeah.
But I think folks that have approached this in a disciplined way, and really looked at return on investment in fundraising as a source of future program building,
Yeah.
service building, are doing well.
Yeah.
That's not to say that they won't be hurt if federal funding goes away. That would be an across the board. And yeah. So kudos to Veritas Group, but mostly kudos to those stations and
Yeah.
the station leaders
Who had the
that
guts
decided
to
to
do
make
it.
that investment.
Yeah. I look at what we've been able to do together as a real beacon of hope for a lot of stations and nonprofits who are trying to figure out this next thing around relationship-based fundraising and whether they should invest or not. Because, we start out with a pilot with like 4 stations. We had to prove this and saw phenomenal results, right? I mean, amazing results just in the first 2 years of this. And now we've seen so many stations go, okay, we need to adopt this. And every one of these stations is performing tremendously, who have all put in the time and the effort to create these disciplined programs. So it proves out that yes, indeed, you have these loyal donors and they have much more to give, but we need to ask them,
Yes.
And
Asking.
If you ask,
Asking is a good thing.
They will come. And I think we've proven that over and over again. And so if there's anyone that's like wondering, gosh, do we need to start our program? This is the time to do this more than ever. I mean, it works.
Yeah.
Well,
I like to say the best time to start a major giving program is 5 years ago. The second best time is now.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you see public media evolving over the next 5-10 years? And then what's Greater Public's role going to be in all?
Yeah. So we actually co-invested in some national research a year ago that we're in the process of rolling out, and it really, I think, gives us sort of a set of destinations, and the results of this research very much point to local news and information, local community events, community gathering. It's things that we do, but I think it tells us that there's a much bigger appetite for it than we imagined, and that we should not discount the importance of IRL, in real life, people getting together, having common experiences. I think there's a real hunger for that out there.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before, all media research now is pointing to the same set of behavioral changes, which means less linear consumption, more multi-platform consumption. And, there's absolutely no reason that, aside from the cost, that these organizations couldn't expand and meet their audiences where they are. And so I think 5 years from now, we will still be in the broadcast business, but we will have a much larger footprint, not only on other platforms, but also in our communities.
Yeah. So I kind of see it in my local, in Philadelphia. Like I see WHYY as our local NPR PBS station. And, you go to a community event, outdoor things, they're there. WHYY itself, the building has public space And they're always trying to bring people in there, which is awesome, I think. And I think you're right. It's going to get more and more localized. Like I see WHYY has Billy Penn, which is this,
Yep. Online news.
online news that is all connected into all the different neighborhoods of Philly, and it's connected to WHYY. That's kind of what you're talking about. There's this more,
Exactly.
yeah,
And you're spoiled in the Philadelphia market because you also have WXPN,
yes,
who have an amazing performance space, or
yeah,
spaces.
yeah. That's a great example.
Yeah, and they're bringing the community in on a nightly basis.
And then we have WRTI,
Yeah.
the jazz and the classical station. They hosted this great sing along at downtown for Christmas time. That was unbelievable, and there were thousands of people that showed up. And WRTI is a small little, it's a small station, but you could tell like there is deeply connected into Philadelphia and the roots. And so that's really interesting. That's how you see it going over the next 5 to 10 years. And I love that.
Yeah. And lots of partnerships with other nonprofits in the community.
Yeah.
For profits who are doing things in the arts. I mean, yeah, even, partnerships between news organizations in the same city. I just think that there's a lot of opportunity to provide more that's local to communities. And I think there's a hunger for it, and also a hunger for people to be with like-minded folks, to be with, fellow travelers. It makes you much bigger than just a radio station.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that there's anything small about being a radio station, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. I hear you. So, Joyce, if you're an executive director or a VP of development for any kind of nonprofit, looking at what's going on with public media today, what lessons or advice would you have? What would you give them?
Do not underestimate your donors. Believe in your donors. And if you believe in them, they believe in you. I think there's, in times of uncertainty like this, there's reticence about, well, how much do we ask? Do we keep asking? Blah, blah, blah. Donors are going to give, right? If they know you're in a time of need, they're going to give. So make it easy for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like I like to say, the whole major gift pipeline, we try to make it as easy as possible for a donor to give to their heart's content.
Yep. That's right. That's right.
And then look at barriers that you put up, perhaps internally, externally, whatever those barriers are that prevent donors from giving like they want to give, and remove them.
That's right.
And give them opportunities. I think that's one of the best things that's happened, is that for the first time, public media is giving donors the opportunity to give bigger,
Yeah.
Beyond that membership, beyond, that same gift they give every year, to think bigger about what public media is doing in their local community, and providing them with and inspiring them with offers that do have big numbers to them.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What I want to celebrate is the first major gift to a public media organization that is directed at hiring major giving staff or mid-level giving staff.
That would be awesome.
Because in my mind, Jeff, and those of you watching and listening to this that haven't seen how Veritas takes donor data for organizations and looks at the potential and actually does like a conservative 5-year projection of what's possible, I would walk that into my best donors and say, look, you've been amazing. Your impact on this organization has been tremendous. I want to talk to you about an opportunity to quadruple the value of your gift and really leave a lasting legacy by helping us to invest in our fundraising effort. And, as a donor who wants impact, what better opportunity to put in front of them than to say your gift is going to, produce an ROI of X for this organization. Yeah.
It's a great offer for those donors that love to build beyond themselves. Their own,
Yes.
that one gift is like, it'll last go for a long time.
Yes. So when either of us hears that one of those gifts has come into public media, we have to get on a Zoom and toast each other with our.
I'll do that. That would be great. I would love that. Now, okay, so I know that you're this eternal optimist, and I mean, we're wired the same way, but what makes you hopeful about public media when there's all this stuff going on? It's just journalism in general. It's like a dark cloud, but why should we remain hopeful?
Because I believe that people want to know what's really happening in the world, in the country, and in their communities. I believe that the population of this country values news and information much more than the forces to bear understand. Journalists are tough.
Yeah.
And some of the organizations that are pushing back, taking action, challenging things judicially, I think at the end of the day, there's too much value there for the society for it to shrivel up and die. And it's, of course, part of a bigger picture and other things that are going on. But in my corner of the world, I say fight, fight, fight.
Yeah.
And and anytime you're feeling challenged or having a bad day, go read the comments that come in with your donations, because people really do get where we are and what we need.
Yeah, I'm sure those comments are amazing right now, because it's like that's the beauty of fundraising, is that it allows people to partner with you to do something they can't do every day. They're giving you their hard-earned money that they've labored for to get as an extension of your mission, right?
Yeah.
They're handing that over to say, keep going, don't stop. We want democracy. We need independent journalism.
We're on your side.
Yeah. We have this Slack channel at Veritas that is celebrations. And I would say the last month, we've had more celebrations around public media, mid-level officers and major gift officers telling us stories of how donors have risen to the occasion, both in the stories that they hear, but also the gifts that they're giving. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and here's an interesting way to look at this. Unlike many other public media other nonprofits, the consumers of our service are also our donors.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So more like a museum or an arts org or whatever, right. Except in our case, it's like en masse our donors. They all feel as though they're invested in what we do. And that we have a very solid foundation here. Yeah. And I'm very hopeful.
Awesome. Well, with that note, thanks for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. Keep fighting the fight for us all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Public media people are awesome. I have full faith in my colleagues across the system, and the audience and the donors. So yeah, keep us in your thoughts, Jeff.
Will do. And for those listening, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. I love this mug, Jeff.